Hey guys, this video is about INFPs. INTPs and INFPs both lead with the dominant introverted judging function. INTPs lead with introverted thinking, INFPs lead with introverted feeling. The difference here is that introverted thinking seeks logical solutions in everything that it finds interest in. Because INTPs have secondary NE, they basically are interested in almost everything and are accepting of the possibility of more and more data, more and more knowledge, as NE is very conceptual. So INTPs will always be open to reading into certain things that others might think is weird or just bizarre. Trying to think of an example. Like esoteric things, other people probably think it weird, like INTPs starting to read about astral projection, for example. It's like a lot of people might see that as weird when INTPs are looking to analyze everything and put it in its spot. So INTPs, because NE is always expanding and not contracting on one thing, NE is always keeping INTPs interested in so many things over time. INFPs are seeking a sense of individual wholeness because of introverted feeling. It's about moral, where they morally stand with the world, because extroverted intuition is a big global function. INFPs are passionate about where they stand with things like politics, particularly because introverted sensing and extroverted thinking are the repressed functions. How I see it is that FI and NE are very conscious and dominant, and these two functions repel SI and TE in the INFP. So an ESTJ, for example, is a complete opposite to an INFP. If they came up, that'd be the TE SI repelling NE and FI, mainly TE suppressing FI. It's it's sort of like the dominant function is fully 100% there, and the inferior isn't there, only under certain conditions and only to a very small degree. Whereas the second and third is more like a 60%, 20% relationship, where the second is clearly a lot stronger, yet the third is somewhat noticeable. So INFPs are seeking a sense of wholeness, understanding of the world. They're idealists, so they dream about a future where the world's better, where they're in their own little imaginary world even. So INFPs, because of their inferior extroverted thinking, because they're so guided by emotions and that, they struggle to organise their external environment. So INFPs and INTPs are generally slacker types, as labelled. Generally don't like to be too involved in work. But these types live very simply, as both types are very introverted and are both seeking truth in different ways, through meditation, reading, all sorts of things, thinking. So it's a funny way of life for both types. I think both types are pretty funny, like eccentric. I don't really want to work 40 hours a week. I prefer doing like 15 hours is all I need to get by the way I live. I like to spend most of my time thinking, but yeah, a lot of reading and that. So INFPs and INTPs both have secondary and tertiary extroverted intuition and introverted sensing. So this means both types are interested in learning through life experiences and coming up with the right habits to integrate into their lives to live truly to themselves, or to who they see what is a sense of achievement, completion. So I kind of see it that the SI and FE develop in the INTP over the years to try and bring the INTP to more sense of wholeness, instead of just being purely focused on using introverted thinking and extrovert intuition. Like it's like the seed is growing over the years. So like older INTPs can be authors, have done philosophy degrees and all this sort of stuff, more sort of involved with the world, whereas younger INTPs can be more like a hermit, as the introvert sensing and extrovert feeling is in its like embryonic state. However, like Richard Dawkins, older INTP, has written several books and is passionate about debating religion, because you can tell his extrovert feeling has developed slowly, gradually over time, and is now quite confident in his views, because the tertiary SI is a function that is looking for a conclusion that is solid in reality. So what have you learned through your experiences, sort of thing. So as that develops as well, the tertiary function, INTPs get more confident in their views. It's important for INTPs to develop extrovert intuition though in INFPs, because this gives them a lot of views to consider before coming to conclusions, because INTPs and INFPs may think they know everything when they really don't, and by developing extrovert intuition they get a better understanding of the world, more clear, objective one as well. And this also helps developing the weaker functions to their potential, because if an INFP gets out in the world more and sees reality for what it really is, over time their extrovert thinking will develop as well and give them confidence in acting in the world, whereas INFPs who shut themselves out all the time don't give their weaker functions the opportunity to grow as much. So they sort of stay in a rut, and ruts are common for INP types, that's for sure. Same with INTPs, spending more time in social situations, learning about what people are actually like, develops the inferior extrovert feeling, giving INTPs confidence in talking about psychology. I'm always nervous up before making these videos, but I suppose the conclusion I've come to is that I'll just flick on the camera, try and talk about a topic I'm interested in, and see how it goes. So yeah, INFPs, INTPs. It's like INFP has to get into the world to be able to function in the world in a structured way, whereas INTPs are like, yeah, that's how you do a job, nothing special, and doesn't realize that the work they could do with their brains could make a great impact on humanity. So it's like INTPs, yes, grasp concepts and a lot of things quickly. I found I wasn't very motivated to do well in school because I just was too lazy to bother. So I just like play Tetris and all that sort of thing. However, looking back, I wish I did my best in school, and maybe even learn an instrument, learn a language. Like those formative years, like that's very important for your brain. But I was pretty lazy. So I think the development of the weaker functions over time tells you, back in the past, if I did this, I would have done so much better now. I think that's tertiary introvert sensing to a degree. But that could just be common sense too, because a lot of people can say that. So like I found with MBTI as an INTP, I make a lot of assumptions off introvert thinking that isn't always measured against external reality, but I just like to put my ideas out there anyway, because it's just healthy to voice your opinion about things. So yeah, both types are seeking truth in their own ways. INFP is more like the hippie, INTP is more like the maybe like a monk, or like just a slacker in the city, on the couch reading books, somehow getting them, somehow surviving. Um, Particularly in the younger years, it's very tempting lifestyle, just spending a lot of time reading, thinking, and just sort of dwelling around. However, some work does feel healthy. So it's weird. Like most of the time, I do like to just be at home on the internet, just surfing around, whatever sparks my interest, or just follow it. But then it's sort of like, oh crap, I have to deal with the reality sort of thing. So that's introvert sensing. And it's because it's tertiary. It's like, oh, I'd rather not deal with it. Like I prefer using my first two functions. Um, so INTPs end up um, dropping out of college like often and not really doing a lot sort of thing, not realizing it at the same time, but they are aware but aren't sort of thing. Um, Same with INFPs. I think INTPs are more accepting of capitalism and that sort of thing, because introvert thinking is the inverse of extrovert thinking, where INTPs see all the details of the extrovert thinker's action. Um, so, an INTP, I admire ENTJs. Um, they live so rationally, and I wish I could be more like them. I think it's the shadow attraction. INTPs like ENTJs, and ENTJs like INTPs, because we're like the ones sitting on the side talking to the ENTJ, confirming their state of mind on what reality is like. The ENTJ is like smiling, nodding as the INTP is talking, sort of thing. Um, um, INFP is more anti corporation and that sort of thing. They want a ideal world where it's all peaceful and everyone's living very simply off fruit. And I can see the logic in this too, because I get sick of working in that. And I'm like, oh, why can't we just like sit around and just pick fruit off trees? Like, you don't have to go to a 40-hour week job when you can like just sit in a garden area and grow fruit and vegetables and just live very basically. Um, that does sound pretty appealing. But then again, I like the internet, and I like the comfort of just being able to have a shower and using a car and like all that sort of thing. So I think that has to do with INTPs wanting to have their independence and have independent minds, and not be shunned by having to do degrees or something like that. Um, INFPs have the shadow of ENFJ, so ENFJs are the like Martin Luther King type. So INFPs are interested in this type because they're out there, passionate. It's just like how ENTJs are out there living rationally, and INTPs admire them. But the INFP and INTP are like the dreamy side of those two powerful types. It's real weird. Like the reflective types, like their brain or something, like their brain but deeper. Like an INFP is like a very deep, thoughtful ENFJ who is looking to have an introspective life instead of being too involved. Whereas an ENFJ is like a very out there INFP who um, who wants to live by their morals and put it out there and allow other people to experience it. And FE is very expanding, whereas introvert feeling is very contracting. So extrovert feeling is like, I want to cover the whole globe and tell everyone, whereas introvert feeling is like, this is my view and it is so tight, sort of thing. Like the introvert functions are very like sort of bringing it in and tightening it. So like all introvert types have that sort of a little bit like you can tell they have a suppressed extrovert function because of this tightness, like of the dominant introvert function. Whereas extroverts are more like they have the dominant extrovert function and an inferior introvert function, so they appear just more open or something. Um, So yeah, that sums up the two types. Thank you for watching.